Among the many things fueled by oil and gas right now, our state's economy.
At the same time, public outcry over drills in neighborhoods is reaching a fever pitch. We've done plenty of stories about fracking, and a lot of you asked about the other side.
Well, tonight, Denver 7's Jennifer Kovaleski is going 360 on oil and gas and looks at multiple perspectives of our state's strong and growing oil industry.
When people don't hear from you, it's really easy to make you guys the bad guys. Colorado's largest oil and gas company is telling its story.
We get it.
And wants to set the record straight. What kind of impact is the public opposition having on the industry? Before we get to Anadarko's answer to that question, let's go 360 on how we got here.
I feel like this town is under siege.
This is absolutely not safe.
Every conflict, no matter how big, has a trigger point.
Their cars are there.
In Colorado, you're looking at it. This deadly house explosion last year in Firestone. It was caused by non-odorous gas, leaking from an uncapped flow line. The gas came from this nearby well, owned by Anadarko.
After Firestone, things have changed.
2 men were killed, and a flashpoint ignited as tempers flared and voices raised, demanding accountability.
People are starting to get woke.
There is nothing safe about this. There is no set of regulations that can make this safe.
In response, concerned neighbors have turned public comment into open mic tongue lashings at meetings across the state. A rally cry for more regulation and less drilling near neighborhoods became the mantra. The oil and gas industry had become the enemy.
They're going closer into neighborhoods. They're going in the middle of neighborhoods now.
It isn't just the proximity to homes and schools many decry. Not just the safety concerns either. It's also the noise and smells and dust and trucks.
For me, it feels like it's a constant attack on my overall senses.
Worst of all, some say, is a feeling of helplessness. The feeling that the oil industry's deep pockets are lining those of local lawmakers who are turning a blind eye.
We know who protects the industry, who protects the people.
But all this noise needs a reality check. There's no denying these neighbors have valid concerns. They do. Men have died. Neighborhoods have changed. But hold your horses, many say. Mother Nature created Denver's oil-rich Julesburg Basin 300 million years ago. And oil rigs started popping up along it in the late 1800s. In other words, the oil companies got here first. The neighborhoods followed. And a clash was born. And our Colorado's boom is pushing more and more homes into oil country. So who's really to blame? And is it time for the two sides to learn to work together? Activists will tell you, no way. But Anadarko sees it as the only way.
We have to work together to come up with solutions to be able to develop both as a residential area and for oil and gas development.
Let's bring it back to Anadarko's head of safety, Corby Bracken.
I will say we haven't been good at that in the past.
Anadarko admits they need to do a better job educating the public about oil and gas.
I think we've been sheltered, and we just continue to develop the resource, but now so we're behind.
And that's why they've agreed to go 360 with us, answering that question we started with. What kind of impact is the public opposition having on the industry?
We listen to those concerns, and we implement changes to our operations to address those concerns. We can't address all of them.
Bracken took us out to one of Anadarko's active drilling sites.
So right now we are about 8 miles north of Lock Buoy, Colorado.
To see behind the sound barriers.
That's one of the visible things that you see as you're driving up and down 25.
He showed us firsthand how they are addressing some of the concerns.
The loudest thing that we try to mitigate is what you hear behind us is the shale shakers.
These shale shakers are responsible for those low-frequency drumming noises that people hate the most.
We've really worked hard to enclose those shale shakers to reduce the amount of noise.
Bracken says Anadarko is also using new drilling mud to cut down on those gas odors.
A product that we can blend with that material to help neutralize that odor that gets rid of that smell.
As we continue on this 360 journey, we can't lose sight of the undeniable upside of the industry. The benefits of oil and gas production in our state are monumental. Towns have been built, communities formed, schools funded, and more than 230,000 people employed by oil and gas. Anadarko alone supports 1,100 jobs in Colorado. And for each well Anadarko drills, Bracken says the impacted communities pocket $300,000 in local tax revenue.
Over the last 5 years, Anadarko alone has spent about $10 billion in the state of Colorado. We have good rock here in Colorado.
The key to the oil and shale boom in Colorado is new technology, known as fracking and horizontal drilling. As a result, operators are able to produce 10 times more oil, making drilling more profitable, which is why we're seeing more rigs closer to neighborhoods. And to be clear, they're allowed to be here. Current state rules say new wells have to be 500 feet from houses.
Why not just push them back even further?
You know, drilling technology doesn't allow us to reach from our surface location to 3 miles. We're limited in terms of how far we can reach.
Fast forward to now.
You need to protect us.
And the public outcry is reaching new levels.
It should not be happening this close to homes and schools, period.
So what's next? And how does this story end? There are clearly pros and cons on both sides. But with the noise so polarized around oil and gas, is it really possible to find common ground? Opponents see the solution as more local control over new drilling in neighborhoods and point to Initiative 97, a state ballot measure that could ask voters this November to force rigs out of backyards. They want to increase the setback for new wells to 2,500 feet, 5 times what it is now.
We've taken it into our own hands, and we're going to protect our communities, and we're going to protect our homes.
Personally, for me, in my role, I wouldn't mind having my house as close to a well as my developer will build it. I know it's safe.
The flip side in this argument, Bracken says, is all of the money Colorado will lose if Initiative 97 passes. The tens of thousands of jobs and cash flowing into local communities, paying for schools and roads, all goes away. So no matter which side of the argument you land on, one thing is clear. The outcome of the next few months will have lasting impacts on the future of oil and gas in our state.
Even if it's not in your neighborhood, this is the health of our state, and this is the future of our state.
Jennifer Kovaleski, Denver 7.
So what would you like to add to this conversation? Because we would love to hear from you. Email us 360@thedenverchannel.com, and we are listening to you, Colorado, and we will continue our coverage on this issue tomorrow morning on Denver 7 starting at 4:30 a.m.
We're just